reality is when we go and we look at how enterprises today are incorporating agents and AI in their products, what you typically find is this pattern where there's an AI chatbot in some corner of the screen, and it just sits alongside the rest of the product experience. And the rest of the product experience is largely unchanged and largely disconnected from the AI chatbot. And there might be lots of customer intelligence driving that core part of the product. It's not uncommon on a retailer site to have between 50 and 100 different algorithms figuring out exactly what products and offers to be shown on the home screen. But none of that intelligence is filtering through to the agent over here. The agent over here has none of that perception. It has none of that empathy. It can't see what the customer's doing on the shop. It can't see which products they're buying. It doesn't know who, it can't recognize who this customer is or any of that kind of customer history. And so it's just sort of sat there dumbly waiting for the shopper to come and ask a question. And when the shopper asks a question, it gives a completely generic answer based entirely on the content of the question, because it's got nothing else to go on. And that is a real missed opportunity. It's not a compelling experience, and it's not clear how much value, if any, it really drives for the user. And the reason most organizations are at this stage of maturity is that actually wiring in that kind of customer perception is a very difficult thing to do. But even the simpler case of building more straightforward kind of in-product personalization. So forget about agents and LLMs and generative UIs and all of that stuff for the moment. Even if we think about kind of classic in-product recommendation and personalization, actually that's not necessarily a straightforward thing to deliver. And we see organizations really stuck between two quite difficult options. There's the option to build a lot of that infrastructure. And we've seen a lot of organizations successful with that, but it takes a lot of resource. And often those systems are hard to operate and manage and govern once they're built. Often they're not that accessible to non-technical stakeholders like product managers. They're often built by engineers, and you need engineers to define the kind of the aggregations and the intelligence that's computed on the data. And there are often challenges. Either those systems are built to work with the data in a batch mode or a real mode, but really a lot of work is required if you want to pull both the historical data that might only be available kind of batch and the in-session data that needs to be computed in real time and bring them together to build a kind of complete view of who this user is and what are they doing, so that the AI can figure out what the best experience is or what the best products to recommend are. There are solutions out there in market to buy that help with personalization, but these are by and large all geared towards marketers rather than product managers or product engineering teams. So they're not really focused on those in-product use cases. Rather, they're more focused around optimizing things like email and ad targeting that happen outside the product. And they tend to create new data and intelligence silos that aren't integrated with the rest of an organization's data platform and data intelligence. And so this problem is the one that we in Snowplow have been looking to solve with Snowplow Signals. So Snowplow Signals is a product that is designed to enable product and engineering teams to incorporate AI into their customer-facing products. When those teams start to graduate from delivering one experience for everyone to delivering a different experience to two different users based on who they are or what they're trying to do, our vision is that that should be significantly easier with this tech. And we'll walk through a demo and the technology in detail. But just to introduce it at this stage, it all starts with our profile store. So our profile store is what your application will ping to find out who this user is, who's in the application now, and what do we know about them. So the profile store is a low latency API that will return up-to-date valuable intelligence on this customer right now, so that your application can figure out what experience to serve that user. And those attributes, those facts about the user that are returned, are computed in one of two places. They can be computed in our streaming engine, which is calculating, exactly what the user is doing in session from the live event feed. But it can also integrate with your warehouse and pull any kind of customer fact for this user from any point in their history. So there's a huge flexibility and scope to deliver directly into your application real-time and expansive customer intelligence. We then have the ability to trigger interventions. So you as a user can define specific conditions in which you want kind of an alert or some kind of push into the application, so your application can respond to a user in a particular need. And that will hopefully become clearer when I show a concrete example.